June 6th is approaching, and if you wait until everyone runs to the store at the same time, you may already be one step behind. In just the past few years, blackouts, heat waves, major storms, and panic buying have caused bottled water, toilet paper, basic medicine, backup batteries, and shelf-stable food to disappear from store shelves faster than many people expected. The scary part is that the system does not need to completely collapse for that to happen. It only takes millions of people thinking, "I should buy a little more." In this video, we are going straight into 12 items that many people are still underestimating right now, but could become some of the most sought-after things as summer starts heating up. And the closer we get to the end of the list, the more you will realize a crisis often does not begin with chaos. It begins when ordinary things suddenly disappear. 12. High-capacity power bank. The scariest thing during a power outage is not the house going dark. It is when you look down at your phone and see only 7% battery left. At that moment, everything changes very quickly. An ordinary device you hold every day suddenly becomes the last line to call family, check weather alerts, look at maps, receive news, or simply know what is happening out there. At first, a power outage only feels like an inconvenience. You think the power will come back in a few hours. You still open your phone as usual, check the news a little, text a little, check the weather a little. But the Wi-Fi is gone. You switch to mobile data. The signal is weaker. The phone gets hotter. The battery drains faster. By the third hour, you start lowering the screen brightness. By the sixth hour, you stop opening videos. By the eighth hour, every time you touch the screen, you hesitate. Because the battery percentage is no longer just a number, it is a countdown clock. And when the phone battery reaches 0%, many people finally realize they never had a backup plan. They only had the habit of charging their phone every night. This is why a high-capacity power bank should be in the house before June 6, 2026. Not because it is rare, but because when a widespread power outage, a summer storm, or a heat wave puts stress on the electrical system, many people will remember they need a power bank at the exact same time. On a normal day, you can buy one very easily. But after a major blackout, emergency electronics often disappear from store shelves very quickly. Not because the world runs out of power banks, but because sudden demand moves faster than supply. And when demand rises all at once, the price of good models is usually no longer as comfortable as before. A good power bank does not need to be too complicated, but it should be strong enough to charge a phone at least a few times. If there are older adults, young children, someone living alone, or someone who needs to track medication, appointments, or medical information in the house, then a power bank is no longer a tech accessory. It is part of the home safety system. But the biggest mistake is buying one and then leaving it there. A power bank that is not fully charged only creates the feeling that you are prepared. In reality, when you need it, it is no different from a small brick sitting in a drawer. Charge it regularly. Keep it somewhere easy to reach. If possible, have at least two. One in the house, one in the car or emergency bag. And do not let the whole family depend on a single device. When your phone reaches 0%, you do not just lose battery. You lose the ability to call, receive alerts, check maps, contact family, and know what is happening. On a normal day, that sounds very small. But on an abnormal day, it can be the line between staying calm and being completely passive. If the power goes out for 12 hours tonight, will your phone still have enough battery to keep you connected? Or will you start counting down from 7%? 11. USB rechargeable fan or battery-powered fan. There is one kind of power outage that does not make the house go dark right away, but it drains people very quickly. It is a power outage on a hot night. No sound of the air conditioner, no ceiling fan. The windows are open, but the air still feels frozen. At first, you only feel a little uncomfortable. Then the bed sheets start heating up. Your shirt sticks to your back. The room becomes stuffy and heavy, as if the air has stopped moving. For young people, that may just be a sleepless night. But for older adults, people with underlying health conditions, young children, or anyone prone to dehydration, indoor heat is no longer just uncomfortable. It starts pulling their strength down little by little. This is why a USB rechargeable fan or battery-powered fan should be ready before June 6, 2026. Right now in the US, small USB fans are usually only about $8 to $15. Common personal rechargeable fans or clip-on desk fans are around $15 to $30. Larger battery models that last longer through the night are usually around $30 to $40, depending on capacity and brand. That does not sound too expensive, but the problem is that items like this are usually cheapest when no one is thinking about them yet. It only takes one early season heat wave or one area starting to experience extended power outages, and battery-powered fans are often bought up very quickly. People do not remember them when the air conditioner is still working normally. They only remember when the room has become too hot to sleep in. A small fan will not cool a room like an air conditioner, but as long as the air is still moving, the body has a little more time to endure. The danger of heat is that it does not feel urgent at first. It only makes you more tired, thirstier, and more irritable. One bad night of sleep, you can still handle. 2 nights in a row, your mind starts slowing down. You become more forgetful, more easily annoyed, more likely to make poor decisions. In a crisis, the body often wears down before the supplies run out. When buying one, prioritize a model with a rechargeable battery, USB compatibility, multiple fan speeds, and the ability to sit steadily on a table or nightstand. If there are older adults in the house, do not store it deep in a closet. Keep it somewhere you can grab as soon as the room starts heating up. On a summer night without power, it may be the thing that keeps the room bearable. And sometimes, just a small stream of air is enough to keep a person from slipping into panic and exhaustion. If the air conditioner shuts off all night tonight, do you have anything in the house that can keep the air moving? 10. Basic over-the-counter medicine. The biggest mistake many families make is not that they have no medicine. It is that they believe when they need it, they can always run out and buy it immediately. On a normal day, that thinking sounds very reasonable. A slight fever, you go to the pharmacy. A stomachache, you stop by Walmart or CVS. Allergies, you buy a few antihistamine pills, and that is it. Everything usually takes less than 30 minutes, but the problem begins when that day is no longer normal. A prolonged heat wave, unusually crowded roads, a power outage, delayed deliveries, or simply too many people in the area going out to buy the exact same items at the same time. That is why basic over-the-counter medicine should be prepared before June 6, 2026. Not because medicine will disappear forever, but because during short bursts of demand, basic medicine shelves can empty faster than many people think. Right now in the US, a bottle of store-brand acetaminophen or ibuprofen usually costs only about $4 to $8. Store-brand allergy medicine like cetirizine or loratadine is usually around $10 to $20 for a large box, and electrolyte packets or oral rehydration packets are usually around $5 to $15, depending on quantity and brand. That does not sound too expensive, but like many other items in this video, they are usually easiest to buy before everyone remembers they need them at the same time. A crisis rarely begins with something big. It often begins with a very small sentence. I feel a little feverish. My stomach does not feel right. I think my allergies are acting up again. So there should be a few basic groups in the house. Fever reducers and pain relievers like acetaminophen or ibuprofen. Allergy medicine like cetirizine, loratadine, or diphenhydramine. Diarrhea medicine, stomach medicine or antacids. A thermometer. Antiseptic. Bandages and gauze. And a few electrolyte packets for hot days, dehydration, or digestive problems. For young people, those things may only be uncomfortable for a few hours. But for older adults, people with underlying health conditions, or people living alone, a small problem can pull the whole day down very quickly. A fever makes the body tired. Diarrhea causes dehydration. Allergies make it hard to sleep. Aches and pains make you move more slowly. And when the body starts feeling off, the ability to think clearly starts dropping too. Another common mistake is leaving medicine scattered all over the house. Some in the bathroom, some in the kitchen, some in an old bag. By the time you need it, you do not know what is left, whether it has expired, or whether it was already used up last time. A basic medicine kit does not need to turn the house into a pharmacy. It only needs to be enough to keep small problems from turning into bigger pressure. And if someone in the house is taking prescription medication, do not change the dose, mix it with new medicine, or stop old medicine without asking a doctor or pharmacist first. Because when someone in the house is tired, feverish, has a stomachache, or is dehydrated, the whole rhythm of the household starts to shift. You are not just missing medicine, you are missing the ability to keep a small problem at a small level. What about you? If someone in your house had a fever, stomachache, or allergies tonight, could you handle it within a few minutes? Or would you still have to drive out to find the nearest pharmacy? 9. Bottled water and electrolyte tablets. Many people think water is the easiest thing to prepare. Just buy a few cases of bottled water, put them in the corner of the house, and that is it. But during a heat wave, power outage, or digestive issue, the problem is not just how many bottles of water you have. The problem is whether your body can hold on to that water and whether you are using water the right way. In the summer, the body does not just need water. It needs the ability to retain water. When it is hot, when the air conditioner stops running, when you sweat a lot, or when someone in the house has diarrhea or vomiting, just drinking water is sometimes not enough for the body to recover quickly. That is when electrolyte tablets or electrolyte packets become worth paying attention to. This is why bottled water and electrolytes should be prepared before June 6, 2026. Before a storm, before a major heat wave, or when there is a power outage warning, water is often one of the first items to be cleared out. Not because water no longer exists, but because everyone understands the same thing at the same time. Without water, everything else immediately becomes harder. Right now in the US, a 24-pack case of bottled water is usually around $4 to $7, depending on the brand and store. A gallon jug of water is usually around $1 to $2, and electrolyte packets or oral rehydration packets are usually around $5 to $15, depending on quantity and brand. These numbers sound small, but it is often the low-priced items that get bought the fastest when the weather forecast starts turning bad. For older adults, dehydration can arrive faster than the feeling of thirst. They may not realize they are wearing down until they feel dizzy, tired, have a headache, or become slightly confused. This is something many families underestimate. A long, hot day does not just make people thirsty. It slows the body down, makes the mind less alert, and even normal tasks start feeling heavier. Bottled water gives you an immediate drinking source. But water is not only for drinking. It is also used to take medicine, mix electrolytes, cook quickly, wash hands in a basic way, wipe the body down, do light cleaning, or care for someone with a fever or stomachache. If you only calculate water as a few bottles per person to drink, it is very easy to underestimate how much water you actually need. Electrolytes are the same. They are useful when the body loses fluids from heat, heavy sweating, diarrhea, or vomiting, but they are not a miracle cure. If there are serious signs such as severe confusion, fainting, inability to keep fluids down, a high fever that lasts, or severe dehydration, that is no longer something to handle at home. The mistake is buying only water without thinking about how to use it. If on the first day you drink freely, use it freely, and open bottle after bottle without control, by the second day you will already start worrying. The smarter way is to estimate the minimum amount of water for each person for a few days. Keep it in a cool place. Avoid direct sunlight, and prepare a few extra electrolyte packets as a small but very practical backup layer. Do not wait until the store limits each person to only a few cases. Because when everyone sees the heat forecast at the same time, they do not buy with logic. They buy with fear. And when fear starts pushing shopping carts, the water shelves usually empty very quickly. If tomorrow the store limits each person to only 2 cases of water, how many days would you still have enough at home? 8. Personal water filter. The most dangerous water is not always cloudy. Sometimes it is clear, odorless, completely normal looking, and that is exactly what makes it scary. After a flood, after a pipe problem, or after a power outage affects the water treatment system, the water source may no longer be as reliable as before. You look at a glass of water and do not know whether you should drink it or not. In that moment, the problem is not just thirst. The problem is that you are having to guess. A personal water filter helps reduce that guessing. It does not make you invincible, but it gives you one more layer of options when bottled water starts running low or the stores have already been cleared out. Before June 6th, this item is still easy to underestimate. But it only takes one boil water advisory, major storm, or local flood for simple filters to disappear very quickly. People usually think water is guaranteed until they have to ask themselves whether every sip is safe. A filter like LifeStraw, Sawyer, or a small gravity filtration system can help you handle many situations better. But you need to understand the limits. Not every filter can handle viruses, chemicals, or heavily contaminated water. Sometimes you still need to boil, chemically treat, or use a safer water source. Many personal filters cost around $20 to $40, and some models can filter hundreds to thousands of gallons, depending on the type. The biggest mistake is buying one and then not reading the instructions, not knowing how much water it can filter, not knowing how to store it, not knowing when it needs to be combined with another treatment method. A device you do not understand on a normal day will have a hard time saving you on a stressful day. When people are thirsty, they make decisions very differently. And a small filter does not just give you water, it gives you something more important. Less need to take a risk with a glass of water you no longer fully trust. 7. Heavy-duty trash bags. No one thinks much about trash on a normal day. You put it in a bag, tie it up, take it outside, and it disappears from your life. But when the system is disrupted, trash does not disappear anymore. It stays inside the house. The first day is only a little inconvenient. By the second day, it starts to smell. By the third day, it is no longer just about trash. It becomes a sanitation, mental, and living space problem. That is why heavy-duty trash bags are one of the items that should be prepared before June 6th. Not because they are special, but because without them, the house goes downhill very quickly. A good trash bag is not only for kitchen trash. It can keep dirty clothes separate from clean ones, line a temporary bin when water is limited, wrap items to protect them from moisture, cover outdoor supplies, collect small medical waste, or keep odors from spreading throughout the house. But its real value only shows when everything starts getting messy. The toilet does not flush normally. Food scraps are not taken away. Trash collection is delayed. The house gets hotter because of a power outage. A thin bag tearing at that moment is not a small problem. It turns a dirty problem into a spreading problem. And a box of 50 to 100 contractor or heavy-duty bags usually costs around $10 to $25. The mistake is buying bags that are too thin or keeping only one roll all the way out in the garage. When you need them, you do not want to search. You should have a few rolls of heavy-duty bags near the kitchen, bathroom, or emergency area. Trash bags do not make anyone excited, but when they are missing, you will feel it immediately. Because a crisis is not only about lacking food or electricity. Sometimes, a crisis begins when dirty things no longer leave your house. 6. Basic shelf-stable food. Many people think preparing food means buying a lot of food. But experienced people often ask a different question. If I am too tired to cook today, what can I still eat? That is why rice, oats, peanut butter, canned soup, canned beans, pasta, powdered milk, coffee, or tea are always worth having in the pantry. Not because they are special, but because they are familiar. And in a crisis, familiar food often beats survival food that sounds professional. A pantry can be very full and still fail. Because when real stress hits, no one wants to eat foods that are strange, dry, hard to cook, or never tried before. The body does not just need calories. It needs something easy enough that you are still willing to eat. A hot bowl of oatmeal, some peanut butter with crackers, a cup of coffee when the power is out, a bowl of rice eaten with canned soup. These foods do not make the kitchen look more impressive, but they keep that day from drifting too far from normal. What many people do not realize is that in a prolonged crisis, the first thing to decline is sometimes not the amount of food. It is appetite. People start losing interest in eating, getting tired because every meal feels the same, or having a pantry full of food, but nothing they actually want to open. Rice, oats, and pasta can last 1 to 2 years in their original packaging, longer if stored sealed, dry, and cool. The biggest mistake is buying too many foods the family has never eaten before. A crisis is not the time to force the whole family to become a different prepper version of themselves. If you normally do not like canned beans, buying 40 cans will not make them taste better on a stressful day. The best pantry often looks very ordinary, but that ordinariness is exactly what helps it get used, rotated, and actually save a meal when everything outside starts becoming abnormal. 5. Battery-powered or hand-crank radio. There is a very strange moment during a prolonged power outage. At first, everyone stays calm. The phone still has battery. The internet may still be unstable but somewhat working. You think everything will be fine in a few hours. Then everything disappears layer by layer. The Wi-Fi cuts out. The signal gets weaker. The battery drops. Group chats start filling with rumors. No one knows what is true anymore. That is when the house becomes quiet in a very uncomfortable way. Not quiet for resting, but quiet in a way that makes you feel cut off from the rest of the world. This is why a battery-powered or hand-crank radio is still worth having. It is not more modern than a phone, but in some situations, it lasts longer than a phone. No Wi-Fi, no data, no social media that may or may not be right. It only needs batteries, a hand crank, and a clear enough signal for you to know what is happening out there. Emergency radios usually cost around $20 to $50, and good models have AM/FM, NOAA, a flashlight, and hand crank charging. After blackouts, major storms, or wildfires, Emergency radios often disappear from shelves faster than many people expect. Because people who have gone through long power outages understand one thing: lack of information makes people panic faster than lack of food. When you do not know whether the weather has shifted, which areas are being evacuated, whether the water is still safe, or when the power will come back, the brain starts filling the gaps with worry. And when worry has no answers, rumors replace information. A radio does not make the storm disappear. It does not turn the lights back on. But it helps you stop guessing. And in a house without power, sometimes the most dangerous thing is not the darkness. It is the feeling that no one knows what is happening out there. 4. Food buckets with airtight lids. Many people think the biggest problem in a crisis is finding food. But people who have stored food for a long time understand. Food loss usually does not happen on the first day. It happens quietly months later. A bag of rice gets damp at the bottom. A bag of oats has a strange smell. A few insects appear from somewhere you did not see. Or the food is still there, but you start no longer trusting that it is still safe to eat. That is when many people realize buying food is only the first step. Protecting the food is the harder part. This is why food-safe buckets with airtight lids always show up very early in the homes of longtime preppers. Not because they are cool, but because they solve a very real problem: time. A pantry that does not spoil in 2 weeks is normal, but keeping food stable through months of heat and humidity is what makes the difference. And the interesting thing is, new preppers often focus on expensive items. Experienced people buy containers first because they understand one very simple thing: an expensive bag of rice that goes bad is still just a bad bag of rice. Many people leave food in its original packaging in a hot garage, near the concrete floor, or close to places where humidity changes constantly. At first, everything still looks fine. That is the most dangerous part. Because spoiled food rarely sends a loud warning right away. It declines slowly. The taste changes slightly. The crunch disappears. Moisture quietly builds up. Then the day you actually need it, things are no longer what you thought. A 5-gallon food-safe bucket usually costs around $5 to $15. A Gamma Seal lid may cost around $8 to $15. A bucket with an airtight lid is not just a container. It is a barrier between food and moisture, oxygen, insects, temperature, and time. If combined with Mylar bags or oxygen absorbers, many types of dry foods can stay stable for much longer. The biggest mistake is thinking leaving it in the original bag is probably fine. It may be fine in the short term. But summer heat, humidity, and time do not care how much money you spent on that pantry. A bucket does not make a survival video look exciting, but in real life, it is one of the cheapest items that helps protect all the money you have put into food. 3. USB rechargeable. LED light darkness. Inside the house is not like darkness outside in the yard. Outside, you know you are outdoors. But inside, when everything familiar suddenly disappears from view, the feeling of disorientation comes very quickly. The stairs become a risk. The bathroom becomes a place where it is easy to slip. The kitchen becomes a difficult area to use. And one item dropped on the floor can take you several minutes to find again. A phone flashlight can help for a few minutes. But no one wants to use their phone to light up the whole house for hours, especially when that same phone is still needed to call, receive alerts, or contact family. A USB rechargeable LED light solves this exact gap. Stable light, long use time, easy to recharge, easy to place on the dining table, in the bedroom, hallway, or kitchen. For older adults, light is not just for convenience. It helps reduce the risk of falls and keeps daily routines from falling into chaos. The most easily underestimated scene is a power outage in the middle of the night. Someone needs to go to the bathroom. The light is in the wrong room. The phone has only a little battery left. At that moment, darkness is no longer an inconvenience. It becomes a very real risk. USB rechargeable LED lights usually cost around $10 to $30, and many models run for 6 to 20 hours depending on brightness level. The mistake is having only one light source. A single light can run out of battery, get misplaced, or be in the wrong place right when you need it. It is better to have a few small light sources in different locations, near the bed, bathroom, kitchen, and main walkway. Light does not solve the whole crisis, but it lets you see the next thing you need to do. And in a house without power, the person who can see clearly usually stays calmer than the person who is only feeling their way around. 2. Mini gas stove and propane canister. There is a very common misunderstanding. If there is still food in the house, you are still fine. Not exactly. If the electric stove does not work, if there is no way to boil water, if rice, noodles, canned food, coffee, and oats are all sitting there but cannot be turned into a hot meal, then your pantry is just a storage room. That is the moment many people finally understand. Stored food does not just need to be bought. It needs a way to become a meal. A hot meal during a power outage is not just about eating. It is the feeling that life is still functioning. A pot of hot water, a bowl of noodles, some rice, a cup of coffee, or a reheated canned item. Those small things keep the spirit more stable than many people think. A mini gas stove and propane canister are worth preparing because they give you a backup cooking system. Not flashy, but very practical. When a blackout, storm, or grid problem happens, people usually do not buy gas stoves because they like camping. They buy them because they realize the familiar kitchen has suddenly stopped working. But the most important part is safety. Do not use outdoor equipment in an enclosed space. There must be ventilation. You must understand the risk of carbon monoxide. A well-prepared item is only truly good when you know how to use it correctly. In a crisis, hot food does not just feed the body. It tells the whole family that today has not yet gone beyond control. 1. Toilet paper. Not canned food, not water, not a radio, but toilet paper. It sounds a little funny until you see a completely empty shelf for the first time. The point is that toilet paper is not a survival item in a dramatic sense. You will not die immediately without it, but it is one of the first items that makes people feel things are starting to become abnormal. That is why it stands at number 1. After COVID, many people thought, panic buying toilet paper probably will not happen again. But the problem was never toilet paper. The problem was human behavior. When one person buys 2 extra packs, that is very small. But when millions of people all think, let me buy a little more just to be safe, the system starts losing balance very quickly. And toilet paper is the perfect item for that effect. Everyone uses it. Everyone understands it. Everyone thinks, buying a little extra will not hurt. That is why it disappears extremely fast whenever crowd psychology shifts. That is why this item is much stronger psychologically than many people think. For older adults, the problem is even clearer. Small inconveniences are often no longer just minor discomfort. They can become prolonged stress in daily life. And in a crisis, the mind wears down very quickly when basic routines start disappearing little by little. Well-prepared people usually do not buy too much at once. They simply always keep a buffer, a few weeks of steady use. Restock before opening the last pack. Rotate normally, no panic. No filling the garage like the end of the world. Because real preparation is not living in fear. It is reducing the number of times you have to chase the fear of the crowd. After all, preparation does not mean living in fear. It simply means reducing pressure on the family when abnormal days appear. A light source when the power goes out, a hot meal during a prolonged blackout, a little clean water when store shelves start emptying. Those very small things can keep an entire household calmer than many people think. The truth is that no one controls the weather, power outages, or future food prices, but we can still control how we respond to them. Do not wait until the parking lot is full of cars and people start buying in panic before thinking about preparation. The best preparation steps always happen during the quietest days. What about you? Which item on this list do you think people underestimate the most?